And there we go, live. I do believe. This looks like we're live. Just need to get live chat up. Sort that out. And there we go. The inspector clearly isn't too amused with my setup though. I feel I'm being judged. But anyway, welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, Sorin's Journey, where we will be, I imagine, finishing off the Scholasticate quests today. I think that's all I'll be doing. I'm starting to feel I want to, because there feels like quite a bit of a difference in content between the end of, well, between the Scholasticate quests and Alexander. I think I want to start Alexander on a fresh stream on Friday. But we'll see, Anyway. Out of first person. Last we left off, we had found the kidnapped Ula. Who was the culprit again? Some new criminal, or some former criminal, I think, who had managed to get himself into money. Tried to become a merchant. The reason he was got into money was because he was hired to kidnap someone. Don't know who hired him yet, that's still a question. As is the question of who planted the book in... Oh, so many new names in this arc that I can't remember. But like the head boy's office, someone planted the stolen book. Looking like it was to try and frame him for Ula's disappearance. But let's see what news we have. Ah, Sorin. I was wondering when you'd show up. The Temple Knights have deemed Ula fit to recount the events of her kidnapping, and have taken her into the room just beyond for questioning. I was pleased to accompany for support. Oh, is that finished? Yeah. It would appear the questioning is done. Let us see what we might learn. Right. Get to the bottom of this. Hello, sir. Hail, my good man. I'm Inspector Briardian, and this is my associate, Sorin. I understand that you have spoken with Ula regarding her kidnapping. Is there aught you might share with us? Inspector Briardian, Master Sorin. I fear that it would seem that Lady Ula knows even less of her own abduction than we do. As she tells us, the only people she saw during her captivity were the two thugs now in our custody. We've questioned them thrice over, but they insist their employer disguised himself so well they can't even say for certain if they are a man or a woman. Much less give a description. For what little it's worth, we did learn that the two were once orphans, raised as charges of the sea, betrayed a nation that fed and clothed them for a handful of coin. But I must return to my post. Should we come across anything of actual significance, I shall be sure to alert you. Thank you, sir. So, back to square one, Inspector? Blazy, are there any details our friend may have neglected to mention? I fear that Ula's testimony proved entirely unenlightening. There is another development, however, that has been troubling me. Rumors that Arshombadan was behind the abduction are circulating around the Scholasticate once more. Again with those asinine allegations. And this time the students seem convinced more than ever of his guilt. No longer content to sit back and wait for events to take their course, they've been pushing for his expulsion. A few has been doing his best to convince him to disregard the rumours, but it seems any mention of Arshombadan only serves to fuel their rage. I must hurry back and help them. Okay, sounds like we're even further back than square one. Inspector? Any ideas? I suspect that this is less of a reflection on the prefect himself than a manifestation of aimless anxiety and fear. Still, I dare say this commotion might prove to be an opportunity in disguise. Excuse me, sir? I shall make my way to the vault to continue my own investigations. In the meantime, I ask that you go and keep an eye on the seminarians and an ear to the ground. Right. Just keep an eye on things. That sounds easy enough. I wonder what he's looking for in the vault, though. Excuse me, ma'am. See what the situation is here. And, okay, things are definitely seeming a little more heated than last time I was here. Any time I was here, really. No sign of Archrombodin himself. And what if those ruffians truly were in his employ? Are we to stand idly by until he betrays one of us as he did poor Law? Oh dear. His refusal to provide us with anything resembling a reasonable explanation speaks for itself. The boy is guilty, and I say we move to have him expelled from the Scholasticate, effective immediately. Bjornsson, I demand that you take lead of this charge. Is everything alright, Blazy? Thank the fury you've come, Sorin. Since the headmistress called everyone away for an emergency meeting, it's been absolute chaos. They're so incensed they won't listen to a word Fia or I say. Perhaps if you were to speak with them, it would help to soothe their angry feelings. I can try my best. Excuse me, sir. Enough is enough. I refuse to tolerate his presence within these halls for even one more day. Sir, if you could just calm down and... maybe we can talk this through. Rational debate and all that, right? On second thought, I dare say you have the right of it. The prefect has the riches of houses a mile at his disposal and powerful allies just waiting to spring to his aid. But we must step back and consider our actions carefully, lest we find ourselves strung up by the necks. So you would suggest we do nothing? The longer we differ without taking action, the greater the risk of him finding us out. And when he does, he'll see every last one of us suffer for it. Mark my words. He is frightened, as are we all, but that is precisely why I must proceed with caution. As you rightly observed, if we act out of anger or despair, we only doom ourselves to failure. Please, sir, if you would, rally his spirits as you have calmed mine own. I can try. With his wealth and influence, who knows what he could do to us? Don't worry there. If anything happens, I'll protect you. Keep you out of harm's way. All that. But of course, it is exactly as you say. Forgive me. My fear had gotten the better of me. Indeed, there's little he can do to us if we act as one and proceed with due caution. And remember, once Archrombodin is removed from the school, the administration will keep us safe, so we need not fear his retribution ever again. We must move swiftly, but surely, to ensure his expulsion. Bjornsson, can we count on you to lead us? Not quite what I was aiming for. Lay? Where do you stand on this? Well, everyone seems to have calmed down. It won't take much to set them off again. Even the mere mention of Archrombodin's name would be enough. Grandpa? Now that they've released their frustration, I hope we will be able to come together and find a way to resolve this predicament. I hope. Bjornsson? Thank you, Sorin. Now that everyone is feeling more at ease, let us open the floor for discussion. I welcome any and all opinions, provided they are delivered in a calm and orderly fashion. I believe there is just cause to expel our Tromboden. As Sorin was kind enough to point out, however, we should not act brashly. This is why you, Fiomacent, with your calm demeanour, are best suited to heed our appeal to have him removed. What say you? Given the way he's treated you in the past, I can understand why you'd readily assume the worst of him. I cannot help but believe, however, that he too is a victim in all this. It's strange to think that anyone who cares so deeply about the Scholasticate and its inhabitants could commit such an atrocity. Fio, for fury's sake, you would defend the very individual who for the past several years ridiculed and tortured us. Is it so impossible for you to believe he is capable of such villainy? Until there is proof to say he is guilty, we must give him the benefit of the doubt. Fio is right. Lay, I bear no great love for our Tromboden either, but even the Temple Knights have been unable to uncover a single piece of evidence tying him to the kidnapping. The same knights who have pulled the wool over our eyes for 1,000 years, stripping us of all we own to protect men like him. How heartening that is to hear. I would have thought that after all you'd endured at our Tromboden's hands, you would stand with us. I see I was wrong. Friends, it would seem the commoners grown too content under the nobleman's yoke to fight for his ideals. If we are to see justice served, we must do so with our own strength, our own voices. Let us draft a petition, that our grievances might be heard and the blackguard expelled. How can they be so blind? The villain who kidnapped Ula is playing us all for fools, stoking the flames of hatred that we might all be consumed by them. Is Fio maybe gotten a hint as to who it is? Or at least the motivations? I don't see the... Maybe their goal, but I don't... Their motivation for turning the students against each other. What side is he trying to fall on? Oh, excuse me. Another reason why I'm maybe not doing it quite as long a stream today. I've got a bit of a... My throat's been a bit bad the last couple of days. I can understand not wanting to condemn the man without solid evidence, but Fio practically threw himself on the bastard's burning pyre back there. And for what? He suffered the most at our Tromboden's hand. Why does he still try to help him? I think it's just because Fio's a... upstanding guy. Fio is a man of unwavering principle. That's what I admire about him. I wish I too were possessed of such staunch conviction. There's no stopping an angry mob, I fear. I wonder if any of us will emerge from this unscathed. Fio? Any ideas for what to do from this? If only I could have done more to dissuade them. This blind persecution will only serve to further divide us, and our Tromboden's expulsion would be a tremendous loss for the Scholasticate. Why will no one listen to reason? I think a lot of them are just afraid, Fio. Fio, there's still time to turn things around. I'm sure of it. I'll help you in any way I can. Thank you, Blazy, for your kind words. Indeed, it's not too late to reverse the course of today's event. We should try speaking with Father Saturno. Surely he'll know what to do. Incredible. Despite all that, he's still intent on saving our Tromboden. Sorin, there's no talking about it now. Considering how our last discussion ended, it would put me at ease if you would accompany us. No problem. I shall be staying behind. There are a few things I would like to attend to here. My dear Blazy, if you would, I could do with an extra pair of hands. In that case, Lay, Sorin, let us make haste to the cathedral. The headmistress's meeting will not run forever, and we must catch Father Saturno before the others do. Right. Well, see you two later. Hopefully the father will have some... Oh, there he is. Hopefully he'll have some ideas on how to defuse the situation. Excuse me. Bjornsson, Lay, and Sorin. Whatever brings you here in such a hurry? Ah, mayhap it concerns the petition I just received from the student body. Not to worry. Rest assured that I have reviewed the document and will be submitting it to the headmistress shortly, along with my own strong recommendation in favour of Trompeden's immediate and irrevocable expulsion from the Scholasticate. Wait, Father. We are not here in support of the petition, but rather to argue against it. We cannot rightly expel Trompeden for a crime that the evidence, or lack thereof, suggests he did not even commit. Quite true, and yet it is not because I believe him guilty that I have chosen to move forward with this proposal. Father? Then, why? For too long has our church been corrupted by men and women who would see its foundations built upon sin instead of virtue. I mean to put an end to this vicious cycle. What are you saying? Bjornsson, Lay, there's something you must know. When I was young, I too was taken under the wing of Father Chosoa. It was by his good graces that I gained admission into the Scholasticate, not unlike yourselves. I devoted myself entirely to my studies, that I might prove myself worthy of his kindness. My dedication was rewarded when I graduated at the top of my class and secured a prized position in the archives, alongside some of the Holy See's most esteemed individuals. It was there that I met the man who had become my closest friend and confidant. For 10 years he had toiled in the sea's darkest recesses, working to see that the ugly truth of Ishgard's past would never see the light of day. Until the day the burden grew too great to bear, he took his own life. For years I was torn between grief and anger at not being able to save him from his fate. Fearing my anguish would consume me, I found succor in my religion. Day and night I'd pore over scripture, and soon I found myself back in these very halls, not as a student, but as a teacher. A tragic story indeed, and you have my condolences for your loss, but what does any of this have to do with our Trompeden? Of the Fury's love will all men receive, and by the balance of her spear will all be set free. Doubtless you, too, are familiar with these words. Those who deny the teachings of Volume 11 commit the greatest sin of all. They must bear full responsibility for the injustices wrought on the victims of our society. Master Trompeden has done naught but scorn the truths penned within this tome. His dismissal is long overdue. This is madness. The Fury knows I bear no love for the bastard, but what you propose is to lay the blame for generation upon generation of the Church's transgressions at his feet. I do only what must be done. Countless lives were lost in the Dragonsong War. We must needs purge the Church of any who espouse the false ideal that all men are not born equal, that the sins of our past are never repeated, and that the clergy might be restored to their former glory. I have faith in you, my children. Reflect on the teachings of Father Chosoa. If you do not understand now, you will soon enough. It is true that Father Chosoa was an ardent advocate of equality, who strove always to adhere to the principles espoused and equal under her ever-watchful gaze. 'Tis equally true that our Trompeden has been outspoken in condemning that selfsame passage. Still, that hardly warrants his expulsion. You must admit the man has a point. Making an example of the son of one of Ishgard's most prominent houses would send a message. That just might be the fastest way to bring about the change he seeks. Whether or not that change would be for the better, however, is another matter entirely. It was one thing when it was just an angry mob of seminarians calling for our Trompeden's head. And now that Father Saturnoir intends to lead the charge, it's another matter entirely. Whatever are we to do? I'm not quite sure, but maybe we should talk to the man himself. Find out our Trompeden's side of things. But of course! Our Trompeden's nothing if not astute. He's sure to have an idea or two on how to extricate himself from this predicament. Come, let's make for the pillars. Right. Get where Father Saturnoir is coming from, but I hadn't realized quite how strong he took his stance. Looks like they found him. Le Pressoir? Archombadan, is everything okay? What baseless accusations would you care to hurl at me this time? Attempting to destroy the church? Or perhaps you're here to bring to light the personal hand I had in instigating the Dragon Song War? Or perhaps instead of entertaining every ridiculous rumor you hear, you might actually make yourself useful for once. You can start by questioning those two beside you. After all, they are the ones who arranged this entire farce and have been spreading these letters in a pathetically transparent attempt to incriminate me that I might be expelled. Well, please listen, Archombadan. We know that the accusations being levelled at you are unfounded. I know we've had our differences, but today we come to lend you our aid. He's so full of rage he can scarce hear a word I say. Please, Sorin, perhaps you can try soothing him. I can try. Archombadan, please, we really are just here to help. There's no need for aggression. Just want to hear your side of things. Don't make me laugh. You expect me to believe that you, the two who would stand to gain the most from my expulsion, have not so much as seen the nonsense that's been making the rounds into dormitories? That's... The truth revealed. Archombadan de Zamile, a kidnapper? Trust me, were we to try and implicate you in a crime you didn't commit, we would have done a far more thorough job than this. Indeed. These writings simply make an appeal to emotion. Not a single piece of concrete evidence to support the accusation. Fine. Perhaps it wasn't you two after all. Still, you rest assured that when I get my hands on the commoner that did this, they'll rue the day they fought to meddle with the affairs of House Zamile. You best realize we commoners are not the ones on trial here. You are. I suggest you watch your tongue, unless you prefer to lose the only allies you seem to have these days. Do not lose heart, Archombadan. Together we'll uncover the truth and see that this baseless petition against you is withdrawn. Huh. Why would I need your help? My innocence is beyond question, and the Fury herself will see my good name restored. I pray that she will. In the meantime, we too shall do our part. For Fury's sake, Theo, leave it be! That aside, where did these papers even come from? And why didn't we receive one? If I had to guess, perhaps they were given only to those most inclined to believe the accusations. Foolishness at best. If anything, these letters will only give me the clues I need to identify the coward behind them. As a matter of fact, I believe I know precisely where to begin my search. Brilliant. We would be more than happy to assist you in the investigation. Where would you have us go? Yes, I'm on board as well. And hand you the very knife you had put in my back. Do you think me daft? The position is approved now I'm expelled. That would put you right at the top of the class. How very convenient. Excuse me. Oh, Archombadan, don't you see? It's not for awards or accolades that I study the scripture as I do. I seek only to follow in the footsteps of Father Chazot. It was he who granted me the chance to achieve the grand vision he had for our realm, and bring relief to those in need of spiritual succor. Of the Fury's love will all men receive, and by the balance of her spear will all be set free. I would share the wisdom of those words with all of Ishgard. Volume 11 of the 72 Articles of Hellenic Polity. What is it with commoners and their obsession with that over-idealistic screed? Come, Archombadan, let us not waste any further time entertaining the idle musings of the riffraff. Look, we can manage just fine without your help, but if you do find anything, not that we expect you to, you'll report back to us if you know what's good for you. Understood? If I didn't know better, I'd almost say that sounded like a thank you. Well, if there's nothing else to do here, I suppose we should set to work. An excellent idea, Lay. Now, where do you propose we should start? Fury save us. Excuse me. What was going on between Archambault and Persuado? Never seen them, at each other like that. If Theo wasn't so insistent on helping the bastard, I'd have left him to find his own way out of this mess. So, where do we start, Fionson? If only we could track down the author of the letters and convince them to recant these statements. The student body would have no choice but to withdraw their motion. But where would we even search? Well, I suppose we could start by gathering up more of the pages, see if there's anything different about them. A brilliant plan, Sorin. By examining all the letters that have been distributed throughout the Scholasticate, we may very well find clues leading us to the culprit. It's settled then. Let's return to the Scholasticate and commence our search. Right. Off to look for propaganda then, I guess. Right. That looks like one. Grandpa, have you found anything? Theo has already apprised me of the situation. Not that he needed to, mind you. It is for that very reason that I remained behind with Blazy. To investigate the origin of the nasty rumours flying about. It didn't take long for us to connect the rumours to the letters and coax one of the seminarians to show us the document they had received. Oh, thank you. I investigated further, and behold, these are all the ones I managed to collect in my search thus far. Under normal circumstances, the baseless invectives penned here would hardly suffice to convince anyone. It would seem, however, years of harboured animosity have blinded people to their better judgment. Yeah, who would have guessed? Blazy, was just talking to Cramonvoix. Have you found anything? Oh yes, in fact, Cramonvoix and I have been gathering letters all afternoon. Please try us on this. Thank you. One of the girls said that the letter just showed up on her bed, as out of nowhere. I returned to my quarters to check if I had received something similar, but there was nothing to be found. At first I thought it a simple oversight, but after asking around, I learned that there were more than a few others who, like me, had been overlooked. I think that Lepersoir might have been right then. Excuse me, miss. Did you receive any of these letters about the suspicious letters? Whatever are you talking about? I've not received anything of the sort. Now that you mention it, however, I did observe some of the seminarians tossing out crumpled slips of paper. Mayhap these are the letters you seek. Right, just thrown in the bin or something, I guess, then. Or just dropped on the floor, I guess, maybe. Theo? Ah, Sorin, did your search prove fruitful? I think so. Found a few of them. Well, thanks to Cramonvoix and Blazy, anyway. Excellent! Let us take a closer look and see what we can discern. Blazy? Cramonvoix? How curious. It would appear our culprit has gone through the trouble of writing and distributing 3 distinctly different versions of the letter. The first reads, "As illustrated by the recent abduction that has taken place within these sacred halls, our Archambault will stop at nothing to eliminate those who stand in his way. Such blatant disrespect of her teachings must not be tolerated." The second says, It is one thing to disagree with the opinions of your fellow seminarians. It is quite another to abuse one's influence and have your ideological opponents removed. Ula, a firm believer in the teachings of Volume 11 of the Articles of Hellenic Polity, and a staunch advocate of equality, fell victim to our Trombadon's treachery. The villain cannot go unpunished. And last but not least, Ula's copy of Volume 11 was discovered in the Prefect's room shortly after the girl's disappearance. This, more than anything, proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that our Trombadon is guilty. Excuse me? Well, the final letter at least offers an argument. It's hardly a compelling one. Correct me if I'm mistaken, but aren't there several copies of the Articles of Hellenic Polity sitting on our library shelves? While I can't speak to why our Trombadon would have one in the first place, the book found in his quarters could have been any one of those. Excuse me? Blazy, when you spoke with Ula earlier, did she mention anything about Volume 11? I didn't think anything of it at the time, but while Ula was recovering in the infirmary, she asked that I retrieve her copy from her room. But when I went to look for it, it wasn't there. Which would mean the tome was removed unbeknownst to her. So it would seem. After all, she testified that when the two thugs seized her at the marketplace, she had nothing on her person but a pocket of gil. Presumably the book was still in her quarters then. It'd be one thing if the book had disappeared with Ula, but for someone to sneak into her room and remove it after the fact... Why, it's as if the culprit intended to use it to frame our Trombadon all along. Why, I'd bet my last gil you're right, and that's the reason none of us received a letter. We're the only people who would be able to confirm with Ula that the book had been pilfered from her room. But who would go to such great lengths to frame our Trombadon? That's our Theo, always striving to help his fellow man, even if that man is all that stands between him and the top of his class. It's enough to leave a girl smitten, isn't it, Blazy? What are you talking about? I'm not smitten, I just admire him for his kind heart, is all. Blazy? Why ever did she dash off like that? Has she taken ill? In a manner of speaking, I'll go and make sure she's okay. Well, what now, do you think? Oh dear. Well, whatever it is, I hope she recovers quickly. In the meantime, we need to put our heads together if we hope to get out of this mess. Sorin, what do you think? Why would anyone go to such lengths to implicate our Trombadon? Why would... He does make a good scapegoat. Blame someone like him, a lot of people aren't going to ask too many questions. They're just going to accept it, as we've seen. But of course, an unsaved kidnapper, him or herself, would have such a strong motive to concoct this convoluted plan, which raises the possibility that the kidnapping was naught but a plot to have our Trombadon expelled in the first place. In other words, if we can track down the person behind these letters, we'll have ourselves the culprit behind Ula's abduction. We must inform Inspector Briardian straight away. Right. He was in the vault last I heard. He's currently conducting an investigation at the vault, you say? Let us make our way there with all speed. Right. I don't know if I'll be allowed in. Every time I tend to be in the vault, bad things are happening. Right over the vault's the other way. Is everything okay? Blazy's quicker than she looks. I gave up my search when it became evident I had no chance of finding her. It was just on my way back when lo and behold, who do I see but you three? Lay? Ah, a perfect vantage point. From here... Wait, do you guys suspect the inspector? Why are we sneaking around for a vantage point? Well, I suppose we're not really sneaking. And that's him, over there! Oh. Hello, Inspector. I guess this seems to be a usual meeting ground anyway. Maybe the students just like this place? Ah, it's you. What brings you all the way here? And do you have something to report? Of sorts, sir. We've been looking into those letters that have been circulating. I see. Show me these letters. I shall determine if they are as suspicious as you insist. This is everything we've been able to find. What are we saying? The author goes out of his way to mention that the last copy of Volume 11 was found in our Trombadon's room. The fool! In his feeble plot to frame the prefect, he has only incriminated himself. I trust that you too have put the pieces together. I think so, sir. You have proven an able associate indeed. It's from here, however, that the real work begins. Should at any time you begin to feel your powers of concentration waver, or your attention to detail slip, you need but do this. Take a deep breath, and focus your eyes into the distance. In that moment, the solution will appear before you. The game is afoot, and if we intend to win today, we must remain vigilant. Now, let's get our man. Do I have? Does Sorin have glamour prisms on him? Wait, I put glamour stuff into satellite sometimes. Yes, I do. If we're going to be joining Inspector Briardian on his thingy, we need... There we go. There's a new one. Where's our glasses? Spectacles. Let's put it there for now. Right. Ready to be an investigator. I think I missed something. Who exactly are we going after? I can see the connection, but how does this help us deduce the identity of the perpetrator? Inspector Briardian truly is amazing. Why, he's cracked the case with little more than scattered scraps of evidence. Well, literally. I think I have an idea of who it might be. Before we began pursuing our man in earnest, answer me this. Can any of you tell me where Ulah's copy of Volume 11 currently is? The letters say it was found in our Trombadon's room, though, for all we know, that could be complete and utter bollocks. Sorin, I see you've managed to keep your word to Le Brossoir. Very good. Allow me to enlighten the rest of you. The tome is currently in my possession. Le Brossoir discovered it in our Trombadon's room and turned it over to us in secret, for fear it would fuel the ongoing rumours. Now knowing what you do, it's time to put your minds to the test. What do you surmise is the relationship between our talented writer friend and the thief that lifted the book from Ula's quarters? They're one the same, sir. A sensible deduction. The planting of the book in our Chombidan's quarters and the subsequent distribution of these letters were both carried out to a common end. To implicate the prefect in Ula's abduction and force his expulsion. It would stand to reason that the perpetrators are either working in tandem or, in fact, are one and the same. While that in itself does not reveal the identity of the culprit, it does lead us to our next question. Who would have been able to enter and exit Ula's room unnoticed? The perpetrator was able to move quickly and not draw attention to themselves in the act, leading me to believe our book snatcher had easy access to all rooms within the dormitory. How, you might ask? Ease. Something only 3 people currently possess. Father Satinois and the prefects, our Chombidan and Lepressoir. So, one of them is the culprit, but which could it be? It's hard to believe it's our Chombidan, and Father Satinoir definitely was a little more keen on the expulsion than thought, maybe, but Swar seemed... I suppose then it's almost perfect. No, our Chombidan would never suspect his best are they friends? No, but he's always by his side. They always seem to have... I'm starting to think it must be Lepressoir. Lepressoir, you say? But he's our Chombidan's closest confidant. And he is the only person besides Sorin and the inspector here to have come in contact with the book. I'd say he is a prime suspect. Of course, this is but speculation. Sorin, I hear that you possess a great gift, one which you employed to reveal long-hidden truths about our nation. And might you not be able to use this power to shine some light on the matter at hand? To be honest, I really wish I could, but the echo doesn't quite work like that. It's not on demand. I think it's more a case Heidelin shows me what she wants when she wants. So it is not yours to control. I guess this means we'll have need to rely on our own wits to obtain the answers we seek. Fortunately, I have an idea of my own, but I'll need your help to see it through. Right, however I can help. Well done, Theo. Let us put this idea of yours into action. Last I heard, our Chombidan and Lepressoir have taken refuge in Zimile Manor. Let's make our way there post-haste. I'll leave it to you to see that the bumblings of those 3 do not interfere with the final stage of my investigation at the vault. But do not tarry long. With Father Satinoir throwing his full support behind the petition, our Chombidan has but a few bells before his name is permanently struck from the registry. I shall do what I can to see that the proceedings are delayed, but I cannot guarantee it will buy us all the time we need. Godspeed, Sorin. I'll see you at the hearing. Right. I wish Theo had told me more about what exactly it is he has planned. I'm feeling a little in the dark about what we're actually confronting them about. I suppose if we're going straight to House Smile, maybe they just want me on hand to, you know, be quiet and intimidating. I don't know if I'm actually a great fit for the job, but what's going on? Whatever Theo's brilliant plan is, I certainly hope he took this into account. Again? I wouldn't take this kind of treatment sitting down. Looks like they're at it again. What are we to do? Is that our suspect? As you can see, our trumpet and I are discussing important matters at the moment. If you have something to report, pray return later. About that. Archibald, can you please calm yourself for a moment? We think we found something. Findings? Huh, as if anything you four managed to dig up can help me now. The hearing is about to begin. My fate is as good as sealed. There's still time, Archibald. Earlier you pledged your innocence to us. Let us pledge it once more, at the hearing, before one and all. The truth shall speak for itself. The truth? You expect those fools to see the truth when this evidence to the contrary is staring them in the face? How do you think this plan your peace-sized minds have concocted will succeed, where all the Lebersois' best attempts have failed? We will succeed, Archibald, for it is not just I that stands with you, but the hero who brought to light the truth behind our very nation. Yes, there is nothing that he has not seen. Wait, yo. Surely you understand the implications of this, don't you, Lebersois? Yo, I can't do that. Sorin has the ability to peer into events of the past. Indeed, it was through his visions that Ishgard's true origins were brought to light. You need say no more. He has already used his vaunted power to see that I was the one behind it all. Yes, it was I that kidnapped Ula. It was I that snuck into her room and stole Volume 11. And it was I that distributed the letters. Also that I might implicate Archibald. Oh, we are doing that one. How satisfying it is to finally be able to say it aloud. So long I have had to plot my revenge in silence, and mask my hatred of you with hollow praise and bashful smiles. Lebersois, what madness is this you speak? You truly are oblivious, aren't you? Then allow me to enlighten you. After all the transgressions your family has committed against mine, did you truly think I would remain loyal to you? For centuries your house has humiliated us. It was something we'd come to accept. But when the wall between the nobility and the common class came tumbling down, we were met with the most harrowing truth of all. That all our suffering had been for naught. Everything we grew up believing about our status was a fabrication. Tall tales spun to keep us complacent. In reality, you're no better than those two broom rats beside you. You never were. It was a terrible realization, but one that also gave me hope. Hope that you could be taken down just like any other. That's when I began plotting. Ula's abduction, the letters and the rumors they spurred. All was part of my master plan. Bring shame and dishonor on you and your family, as you have mine. I've staked everything. Yes, even my very freedom. But it was worth it to give you a taste of our pain. What's more, I bribed the two kidnappers into abducting Ula with money from your purse. And having entrusted the management of your finances to me, you never suspected a thing. Lebersois, I can only imagine the pain you've endured, but to seek revenge in this way... Nevertheless, I thank you for confessing to your crimes. Now I can absolve Archibald of the false charges brought against him. Wait a minute. You mean that he didn't actually see into the past? You deceived me. Yeah, sorry about that. If you recall, Theo never explicitly said that Sorin had a vision of what happened to Ula. He merely observed that he possesses such an ability. Truth be told, it is not even a power that can be controlled at will. Yep, that's true. And now then, Archibald, I suppose that's all the proof of innocence you'll need. Let's escort... Oh, yeah. Now then, Archibald, I suppose that's all the proof of innocence you'll need. Let's escort Lebersois to the hearing and have him repeat his most dramatic confession before the headmistress. I kind of feel bad for the guy. Big of a jerk as he was. Have the only person you consider a friend turn on you like that. I never saw it. The hatred, I mean. How could I have been so blind? We've been friends from childhood, and never for a moment did I question his loyalty. What a fool I was. However did I think I could stand at the forefront of our nation, when I was so oblivious to that which was happening under my very nose? Archambadan, pray do not torture yourself so. Rather, open your heart and allow Haloni's wisdom to set you free. I want you to come to see Lebrossoir not only as your friend, but as your peer. I promise that the both of you will find a way to mend any bonds that have been broken. Of the Fury's love will all men receive, and by the balance of her spear will all be set free. You truly believe those words, don't you? Cling to them, even when reality does all it can to prove you wrong. I suppose it is this unwavering faith that your friends find so endearing. Now then, it is time for me to put my own faith to the test, and face my fate head on. May the Fury have mercy. So, what are we waiting around here for? We have a hearing to attend. I'll meet you two there. There is something I must confirm with the inspector first. Sorin, I cannot shake the feeling that this affair runs far deeper than any of us could have imagined. If you would, please accompany our trumpet into his hearing, and see to it that nothing goes awry in my absence. Right. Still more to this? Alright. Lebrossoir. That was a confession, right? Is there more to be said or done? Because I think it's part of the plan to have Lebrossoir to change his tune as soon as he... I'll just have to trust him. And, hopefully I can keep things from getting out of hand. I hope I'm not too late. Where are things at? I must say, Master Lebrossoir, I'm extremely disappointed that anyone, much less a student of our own upstanding establishment, would commit such atrocities. I am truly at a loss for words. Confessed. Headmistress Elvian, if I may, do you not find the timing of these confessions to be incredibly convenient? It's as if Master Lebrossoir here has been coerced into admitting the crimes he himself didn't commit. Let us not rush to condemn a man who may very well be innocent. We must also keep in mind that this incident will have repercussions that extend beyond the Scholasticate. This trust of our church has never been so high. If we were to expel either one of our prefects, both of whom have strong ties to House Zamail, we will lose any credibility our establishment still has in the eyes of the citizens. To this end, I would propose an alternative plan. We will make a full disclosure of this scandal to the public, together with an announcement that St. Andelum's Scholasticate will be temporarily closed. It is past time we pushed for a full reformation of the school and its curriculum. Close it down completely? And there it is, the confession I've been waiting for. Inspector? Confession. Master Bjardian, explain yourself. From the start, I had my suspicions that someone was pulling strings behind the scenes. Someone who had secured a high enough position within the clergy to manipulate the students and the system. I poured through records, closely examining any who fit this description. It was no easy task, but I finally found what I was searching for, and combined with the confession Fiolmacent obtained from Le Bressoir, I was able to uncover the true culprit. So it's not Le Bressoir? I speak of you, Sir Tournois, and I do not call you father, for you are no priest. The documents admitting you into your current position were all forged. Wait, what? You manipulated Le Bressoir into carrying out what you yourself could not. You stirred up discord among the students and fomented the people's distrust of the clergy, in the hopes of creating an even greater rift between the people of Ishgard and the clergy, all in the hopes of seeing the Scholasticate closed down once and for all. But I don't understand. Why would Father Satinoir seek the ruin of the Scholasticate? The answer to that would lie in his past. Over a decade ago, Satinoir graduated top of his class and was welcomed into the ranks of the Holy See. It was there he was assigned work as an expurgator. Expurgator? What are you talking about? In all my years of serving the Holy See, I've never heard of such a post. I would be more surprised if you had. Her holy body of decency, a sector that is comprised of a few select individuals, is perhaps the best kept of Ishgard's many secrets. Its existence is known only to a handful of people besides the Archbishop himself. I am impressed, Master Briardian. It would seem your reputation is well deserved. But I must correct you on one account. I am no expurgator, but rather one of the so-called watchmen consigned to guard them. That said, we shared a similar fate. Both expurgator and watchmen alike were struck from official records and confined in the bowels of the Holy See, damned to live out our lives in the shadows as pallid husks of the men and women we could have been, all so that someday we might fulfill one task. Where written records were deemed too dangerous, expurgators would serve as living documents, orally passing down our nation's greatest secrets. When the time came for the Archbishop's successor to ascend the throne, we would briefly emerge from our isolation to pass from our mouths to their ears all we knew of Ishgard before sinking back into obscurity. Of course, no high-born man or woman would be condemned to this fate. No, this was a destiny reserved for commoners, orphans with no ties to the world above. 7 hells. So, if the truth hadn't come to light, Theo and I... Men and women forced to sacrifice their own lives. Our nation's darkest secrets might be preserved forever unbeknownst to our people. I can scarce believe my ears. Father Satinoir, the friend you spoke of. Yes, he was an expurgator. Such anguish did his duties cause him that he chose death over that wretched excuse for a life. And while a new era is upon us, one that does not condemn the innocent to a life of despair for the sake of one man, it does not undo the injustice of 1,000 years. It was to right the wrongs of the past that I escaped that foul dungeon, and made my way back to the place where it all began. This twisted institution, the place responsible for stealing the bright futures of young orphans, needs to be closed down for good. Father Satinoir, your actions are heinous, and I can in no way condone them. That said, if there is truth to what you say, perhaps it would be best for us to suspend all lessons, until we can reach a consensus as how we might proceed. But Headmistress Elvian, would not closing down Scholasticate be akin to evading our responsibility as men and women of the clergy? It is our duty to speak the truth, not bury it. For too long the people have been fed naught but lies. It is some time we took the initiative, and gave them reason to put their faith in us once more. I must agree with Fiomacent. As I have learned firsthand, we must take care never to abuse our power and privilege, lest we hurt the people closest to us. To keep silent would be to repeat the mistakes of our past. The only way we can move forward is to take responsibility for our actions, and make an earnest effort to reach out to those we have wronged. While we may never receive forgiveness, at least we can attempt to atone for any anguish we may have caused those that did not deserve it. If it is true that all men are born equal, as I have heard so many in this room preach time and time again, then all are entitled to know the truth. Let us lead by example, and freely share all that we have learned here today. Father Satnor, while I cannot pretend to understand your ordeal or soothe the fury that has taken hold in your heart, I can promise you one thing. I swear on Father Chouzot's copy of the Parables of St. Danathan that not you, nor any of those who shared your fate will ever again be forgotten. Thus all was laid bare before the public, the atrocities suffered by the expurgator and watchmen alike, along with the never mind. So it was that a new path was forged that day, one that would see a renewed faith in the Church and its teachings, where the citizens would come to learn that all men should be regarded as equal, not only in the eyes of Halone, but also by one another. Oh. Theo? How are you doing? Sorin, thank you for restoring peace to the Scholasticate. You have reminded us that there is a world beyond these doors that relies as much upon us as we do them. You have opened our eyes and shown us that destiny is but the choices we make. If we are strong and persevere, I have no doubt we can rebuild the Scholasticate and regain the people's trust. I'm sure you will, Theo. Sorin, now that your work here is done, I suppose the time for farewells is upon us. Will you be departing Ishgard immediately? It's sad to say farewell, but let's send you and the Inspector off in style. In style? I guess that means the Inspector's heading off on... find another case, probably. Ah, there's my trusted associate. I feared I might not be able to bid you a proper farewell before I left. On behalf of my uncle, allow me to thank you for all your hard work. There's still so much fighting and bickering going on. Couldn't you stay with us for just a bit longer? I fear that there are more pressing mysteries that demand my attention, not to mention a certain young lady in Ul'dah who awaits my return. Oh, another client of yours, I take it. Theo, is your head screwed on backwards? He's talking about his... Tactless fools, the both of you. But I suppose you're nothing if not sincere, eh, Theo? And while I'll admit that naivete is one of your more endearing traits, combined with the blunderings of the idiot beside you, it's like us not to bring Scholastica to ruin. That's why you'll need someone with extensive knowledge of the affairs of Ishgard, and the proper connections to actually bring about the change you seek. Someone like me. The words of a man looking to steal his way into our dear view's heart. Blazy, Lay, it seems you've got competition. Fury take you all! Call me what you will, but fear would never replace me with anyone, much less a conniving snake like our Chombaden. How refreshing it is to hear such playful banter among my friends. It would seem our worries are finally behind us. Before we celebrate, however, there's one last thing. Blazy, I'd like to thank you for your support. Were it not for your meticulous notes and sharp eyes, Ula would still be missing. Well, guess that's case closed. Sorin, Inspector, words are not enough to express our gratitude. It was only because of you that we were able to unmask the perpetrator and restore peace to our school. Just as Father Sou brought you to us in Gorgagny Mills, I cannot help but feel Halone guided you to us in our time of need. We hope to one day repay the kindness you have shown us by rebuilding the Scholasticate. When next you visit, we hope she will have retaken her place as the nation's top establishment of higher learning, and once again serve to light the people's way back to the halls of Halone. I look forward to seeing it then. Our fair nation has seen her share of tragedy and turmoil, but I take heart in knowing that there are those such as you yourself to watch over her, and see that she does not stray from her course. Will we meet again? And off he goes. Oh. Well, you all look after yourselves, okay? I'll be sure to pop by and pay a visit whenever I'm in Ishgard. Not. I can't feel entirely happy about how things played out. In the end, it wasn't like Sartre Noir and Lepertois didn't have their reasons. Just wish they'd thought of a better way to go about things. But I think Ishgard's in safe hands. Between Sir Aymeric, Lord Atrawell, and now Theo and the rest. Next generation of leaders. I think I can leave here safe enough. Don't think there's much more for me to do. Not now the war's over. If I recall, there were some odd goings on in Middleshire. But that will be waiting for next stream. So, yeah. I hope you've enjoyed. I enjoyed it. I have done the Scholasticate quests previously when I on my own one. I kind of forgotten about it. I've forgotten it's maybe other people don't like it, but I really like the actual investigator quests where there's a bit of mystery behind it. So it's kind of a shame that I don't. Maybe he does come back and I've just missed him somewhere. But Briardian's not in any of the other later expansion packs that I've seen. I haven't played yet the Endwalker Hildebrand stuff. And he could potentially make a return there, but he was absent from both Heavensward and Stormblood Hildebrand, so maybe they've... maybe Briardian's had enough. But I'll be back on Friday. That'll be starting the Alexander quests. Then I believe I will be doing the... What quests am I thinking I'll be doing? My brain has just stopped for a moment. Oh yeah, the Warring Triad will be next, and then I'll be finishing up then the post-Heavensward content. Well, the post-Heavensward not main story content with the Void Ark Alliance raids. And after that, it'll be pressing on to Stormblood. Oh. All that said, I hope you've enjoyed, and hope you have a good evening, and with any luck, I'll see you on the next stream. Until then, goodbye.